I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with my gauges, so I'm going to try remaking this video. The engine's running right now. You can see all the gauges are where they should be. Tachometer works. Yeah. So if I shut my car off, all the gauges go back down to 0. Now all my needles are set as far down as they'll go. That one springs back up a little bit, but this one's all the way locked counterclockwise. Same with this one. It's all the way counterclockwise now. And this one all the way. So if I do a cluster reset, runs through its process. Everything zeroes back out. So that's good. I just drove the car, so it should be at temp. Fuel tank's on full. Started back up, everything seems good. Life is good. So when I go to open my door, get out, leave the car, walk away, and check out what happens with the gauges. It'll take probably a minute. I checked at the junkyard and all the gauges are dialed back counterclockwise down to 0. So the needles are set where they're supposed to be. Alright, it should flicker pretty soon. There it goes. So my RPM needle is hanging at the furthest backed off point. Now my question is with the speedometer. Right now it's at, there's no real detent there. I don't know. So with the car off, there's no real detents at all. It kind of just floats around. I mean, there's a little bit of one there, a little bit of one there, but that's all the way down. Now, if I turn my ignition on, that time it hung up, which is kind of the issue. But there's detents now. There's a 20-mile-an-hour detent. It's weird, that one's at 45 now. Or almost 50. There's an 80. So if I want my gauges to read correctly while driving, my door can't have any kind of an effect on this thing. If I leave it right there where it was, start the car, and it's gonna stay there. Now, say I open the door, shut the door, walk away, and try it again. I'll try to get it to hang at that 15-mile-an-hour detent. So right now they're still active. There, you can see it. Now once the gauge cluster shuts off, it doesn't go up to that 20 mile an hour. It goes to about 15. Which I find very odd. That time it stayed where it should. But it's probably because I touched it. I say I come back, open up the door. and then shut it again. Now it's back up to 20. And if my dash is all put back together, and I can't just reach in there and flip it back down to 0, then it's going to read wrong. Even if I reset it. Sometimes it hangs up at 20, sometimes it'll go back down to 0. I would like to know what's causing the door to affect my gauges at all. I mean, it should sit back down at the 0 resting point. There it goes again. Now it just went limp again. I'm going to try putting the key in. So key in, now it flipped it back up. It's reading off. Keys back out. It stays at 20. If I open my door, shut it, walk away, see if it goes back down this time. Alright, so that's fine. It went back down to 0. It's at a resting position. Now this is after I walk away from the car. If I open the door again to get in my car, shut the door, now it's stuck back up at 20. The only way for me to remedy this is to grab this needle, dial it back about -20, and then manually flip it back up to 20, or the first detent, which is now 0. And now when I open my door and close it, technically it would be at the 20-mile-an-hour spot. I'm going to go ahead and reset the gauges. See what it does. Yeah. So now it's all good. Everything works as it should. Even though this needle is not zeroed out the way it should be. I don't get it. I don't like it. But I can live with it if it'll stay like it is. So, shut it down, open my door, shut the door, walk away, go inside, make dinner. We'll see what this needle does now that it's technically at the first step up at 20 mile an hour. Alright, so it goes limp. Those are all the gauges resting. From what I remember, the E should be the resting place. So that needle's a little bit to the left. It's operating fine. I'm going to leave that one alone. This one's fine. This one's passed a little bit, but it doesn't change when I open the door and close it. As far as the first detent. This one, as long as it kicks up to 0, I'm fine. But if I leave it, if I unhook the battery, then it's going to stay where it's at right now, even if I open the door and close it. And then start it up. It's going to stay at -20. And then in about a week, it's going to jump up to 20 miles an hour. So, if I can figure out why they're moving at all, would be great.